Welcome to Hanover College Student Spotlight. I'm your host, Matt Underhill. Life-changing experiences. We see them every day on the news, big or small. Mission trips are a great way to do something awesome. We often don't realize how many people are affected by their experiences. Hanover student Gabe Dzienny went on a mission trip to Myanmar in January of 2016. He flew almost halfway around the world and it took him about 22 hours with 2 stops along the way. Gabe went to Myanmar to work with a medical team. He went to the different orphanages every day. Going to a new country can be intimidating sometimes. When you first got to Myanmar, what was your initial reaction?
When we first got to Myanmar, we got off of the plane and were surrounded by many of the employees that stay there, live there, and work on the orphanages, who helped us get our bags and get to the hotel. And just greeted, hands open, never met them, just full of love and compassion.
Awesome. Well, the atmosphere just sounds truly incredible. So you worked with kids at an orphanage. What was that like? What were the buildings and the housing like? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when we first got there, we went on a tour of the main orphanage. Very, very dry over there. It's a tropical climate, but during their summers, it gets pretty dry and stuff. But walking into like the places where they sleep and stuff, the housing and stuff, you just, once you walk in, you take off your shoes and you take off your shoes before you go in every building. And at each door, there'll just be tins and tins of shoes just piled up, and the kids, whenever you take them off, they grab them and they place them in a certain spot, so when you go in, you don't have to worry about putting them somewhere, I guess. Mm-hmm. And yeah, when you go in, you see just beds, just like bunk beds, and the way they're laid out, it's kind of like a military barracks. Mm-hmm. And just wood planks, one blanket, and the kids are so thrilled to show you their beds. It's pretty much the only thing they have to their name that they can say that's theirs, and it's a very neat experience.
Well, sounds very surreal, but I heard that you were EMT certified. How does this certification help you out at all the orphanages?
So I did get EMT certified before I went on the trip, and I didn't really have to use as much of the training that I got through the certification, but it's definitely helpful having the experience of mm-hmm. dealing with blood and wounds and stuff like that. But working with the kids mainly, just cleaning up like small scrapes and bruises. Mm-hmm. Being EMT is more emergency situations. Mm-hmm. In these cases, we are just help treating and preventing infections and mm-hmm. stuff along those lines.
So Myanmar is a third world country, so the hospitals can be a little bit outdated and a little bit old. What steps did you and your companions really take to treat the people? What were the biggest things you did? Okay.
So whenever we travel there, we get to take 2 suitcases, and traveling there, we didn't get to put anything in those suitcases. We filled them all up with supplies, so medical supplies, toys, candies that won't melt, mm-hmm. clothes for the kids, stuff like that, stuff along those lines. So it's hard to get medical supplies there, so there's many nurses that go on a regular basis, and they kind of know what's needed, and they plan ahead on taking materials there. And yeah, so when we get there, where we know what we need mm-hmm. When we leave to go back the next time.
That's awesome. It sounds like you're really helping the communities. I found that 90% of the country's population is Buddhist, and it can be dangerous to practice other religions. Since you were there on a mission trip, were there any conflicts or restrictions on what you could say and do?
Yes, so we weren't allowed to mention anything about Christianity or post anything on social media, anything along the lines of that. The penalty of converting Buddhists to Christianity in Myanmar is pretty severe. Mm-hmm. Being American going in, we're kind of comfortable knowing that America typically has their citizens' backs when they go to other countries, but just having that, knowing that what happens to other people, you know, you never know if that could be you or not, but definitely had to walk around with caution.
Mm-hmm. Well, Gabe, your trip sounds amazing. Did this trip have any lasting impacts on you, or did it change your perspective at all on anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Going into it, just having the conception of third world countries being just poor, and we see like the starving children on TV show or commercials and stuff like that, and just not thinking like, you know, maybe they can be happy, and then getting there and seeing all the kids and the people there playing and talking with each other and stuff. Like, you see that even though they might not have iPhones and stuff, they still have each other. They can still smile, have fun, play soccer and different activities, and still enjoy life. And that was just very eye-opening to me, seeing that, you know, the world we live in still can be enjoyed without the material things.
Mm-hmm. So I think that we can all agree that this trip was an amazing experience for you. Thank you so much for joining me, Gabe.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it sounds like mission trips are a great way to get involved with other communities. A great way for you to get involved is to look at any international work you can do. Going abroad really allows you to get cool experiences. It just may change your perspective on life. I'm Mad Underhill. Thanks for joining me on Hanover College Student Spotlight.